Hi everyone! So we're getting close to the end here. We've got one last tool to go, and because in this video I want to introduce you to the bonus 7th geoprocessing tool that I always like to talk about when I talk about the other 6. As you probably know, ever since ancient times, 7 has been regarded as a number of perfection and of completion. According to some Christian traditions, there are 7 heavens. And there were thought to be 7 planets for a long time. And so it always seems like, to me, there should be 7 geoprocessing tools in the core GIS toolkit to sort of be complete. Sort of the 7 heavenly geoprocessing tools, as I always like to call them when I introduce them to students. I also think of this tool as kind of like the lost geoprocessing tool because it is so handy. I can think of lots and lots of uses for it, but at least as far as the ArcGIS software platform goes, it's not available in that drop-down list of 6. Okay, so what is our 7th geoprocessing tool that sort of rounds this out? Well, it's called Erase. The Erase function is the one I want to introduce to you. And it's very handy. I can think of lots of situations where I need it. Basically, you can think of it as the inverse of clip. Okay, it's the inverse of the clipping operation. So remember, if we were going to clip something, then we had this large input data set, and then we had this overlapping clipping feature, and we wanted to run the clipping operation in order to get the subset of that larger data set. And we said this kind of was working like a cookie cutter. But what if we were interested in the opposite? What if we were interested in the reverse? What if we were interested in all of the areas in this particular data file that do not overlap with this feature? Well, that's where Erase comes in. So instead of being the clipping feature here in the Erase tool, this is the Erase feature. So Erase is going to produce an output data file by writing only those portions of the input data file, the input features, that are not covered by the Erase feature. So basically you can use the Erase tool to sort of knock a hole out of the data set. So it's the inverse of clip in this particular way, and you can see that clearly here. But you can also think of it in another way, which is its relationship with the intersect tool. Okay, remember, if we intersect 2 different data sets, we're looking for everything that is A and B. And we go to intersect. But what if you're looking for all areas that are A but not B? I need all areas that are A but not B. If you're in that situation, then you also want to use the Erase tool. And this is where I can think of lots of times when you're looking for A but not B. So here is the diagram for that. I need all areas that are this, but that are not something like this. So in what situation might I do that? Well, what if you were looking for all of the areas within a particular city that are zoned for heavy industrial use, but that do not have a certain soil type? Maybe they cannot have a particular type of sandy soil because it can't support large buildings, or maybe because the different kinds of metals and so forth that were used in the manufacturing would leach into the soil and so forth, and maybe into the water. Maybe it's a bad idea to zone that kind of soil as heavy industrial anyway. But maybe I'm in a situation where they didn't know about that, and so I've got some areas that are zoned heavy industrial, but I've got some sandy soil as well. Where are all areas in the city that are zoned for heavy industrial, but do not have sandy soil? That's a job for the Erase tool. The heavy industrial areas would be the input areas. The Erase tool, or the sandy soils, would be my Erase feature rather. And then when I execute the tool, I would get all of the areas that are heavy industrial, but that are not sandy soils. So obviously that is a handy tool, and that's why I include it with the GIS core vector toolkit. And I think it should be taught along with the other 6. So that's the Erase tool. Those are all of our 6 core geoprocessing tools plus our bonus 7th. And that really rounds out not only our geoprocessing tools that we've been talking about, but also the core GIS toolkit in general that we've been studying here for vector analysis. So really the next thing that we want to do is to start learning how to use these tools in action. We've studied them, we know about them, now we want to use them to design GIS methodologies for solving problems, answering questions. Let's put them to use. That's exactly what we'll start with in the next video.